Hey, ladies. All right, I'm really excited about this lesson, and I want those of you who are watching the recording to definitely do it. And we can open up a dialogue about it. But one, I do want you guys to think about your quadrant again of your goals of what you want 2 to 3 things with personal and self-care this week, 2 to 3 things with nutrition. So goals you have, maybe it's to get more water, it's to eat out less. That's something that we talked about last week. Maybe less Starbucks, just kind of setting those goals with nutrition and then setting some goals with fitness. That could even be like not going hard every day. Like that could seriously be a goal. Like for example, for me, I was going crazy being inside. And so Eric and I just went on a really long walk, and that was everything my life needed. And yes, I could do both, but I'm not going to. I just really needed the walk, and I feel great, and now I'm good, and I don't even want to do shift shop. So that can be a goal too for your fitness, of just like getting outside and doing a different type of workout. I know some of you are following a program, which I'm totally all for, but also your fitness should be enjoyable and fun. So listen to your body and think about that as well. And then a goal with mindset. Yeah, don't burn out. And so a mindset goal could be to read a book. I'm currently reading The Power of Positive Leadership, and it is so good. I literally, if you were to look through it all, cannot stop highlighting. It's just like all highlighted. You couldn't see that, but just trust me, it's all highlighted. The confidence podcast we talked about, quote of the day show we talked about, that are really great. And so just make sure that you're setting goals personally throughout the week, but not overdoing it. So I like to set 2 to 3 things in each quadrant and then highlight one thing that I am not going to break that promise. And then if I'm really decent at the other things, great. But if I don't like nail it all throughout the week, no pressure, right? So for that with nutrition, if it's eating out less and water, I'm going to highlight water. And if I do go out to eat once, I'm not going to beat myself up. It's just what it's going to be, right? So there's that. And this is what I'm really, really excited about is I'm going to ask you this question. And ladies, we can definitely talk about it. And I have to really think about it because I'm really good at suppressing things, and I'm really good at pushing things down and not reflecting because it can be painful or annoying or just like gives me anxiety. So I have to actually push myself through this a little bit. Is where in your life are you holding on to excuses? And that question is kind of a wide range of one. It could be where you're holding on to your life with excuses. It could be simply something you just keep making excuses for why you can't get up in the morning as soon as your alarm goes off. Or maybe you're holding on to excuses socially in some way. And again, I can't even tell you like a tangible thing because I am not trying to think of it myself. So I think that you and I, well, the three of us can talk about this. Sometimes I slack on my nutrition and lean on working out hard. That's huge. Like the excuse is with nutrition because I can work out hard. Like I can eat more poorly if I know I'll just push myself in my workout later, which can be a hard mentality to have that you can't keep up with. And you might continue to get frustrated with that for sure. That's such a good one. I need to really think about it. Where in my life am I holding on to excuses? I think sometimes I like make excuses for other people. Does that count? Where if someone comes to me and they broke a promise with me or did something, I'll be more likely to be like, it's okay, and kind of hold that excuse for them. Does that count? I don't even know. This is hard. This is a hard activity for me, and it's making me really uncomfortable. And so you guys can unmute me talk through this. What are some things that you're thinking? Where in your life are you holding on to excuses? It could even simply be to not try a program because you think it's too hard or it's not made for you. I remember I said that about a nutrition program. I did workout programs, but I didn't follow a nutrition one because, well, I was a teacher, or, well, I was going to go on vacation a lot, or, well, maybe Eric wasn't going to do it, or you know what I mean? And just kind of like, well, I know. And then when I actually did, I felt so good. And yeah, I would say that that's an example. Do you ladies have an idea in your life where else you might be holding on to excuses? You guys can unmute. Laura, can you think of any other ones?
I've been like the queen of excuses lately. So, and one that I feel like a little chicken booty saying this one, but there have been times where I'm like, I'm too cold to work out. And I'm like, that's stupid. You're going to warm up working out.
That's such a real thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, where you're like, it's just so cold. Oh my gosh, yeah, that's such a good one. That's something I can relate to. Hannah, can you think of one?
Yeah, I am a frequent nutrition excuse maker, and I will like try something diligently for a few weeks, and then if I feel like it's not working, then I'm like, what's the point? What's the point in restricting myself if I don't see immediate results?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
you make an excuse for yourself to not continue on with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What about socially for you guys, or you ladies, or self-care? So not even just fitness or nutrition, but where do you find yourself? Like, is there a dream you are all thinking about, but you keep making excuses to not go for it? Or like, for example, I started my book 3 weeks ago, didn't do it the next week, except for 2 days ago, I wrote literally 3 sentences and then haven't gone back to it. And it's frustrating me. I'm like making excuses. I'm like, I just don't have time right now. Or like, I don't want to pour my energy into that right now. Like, I just can't think to do that. So is there like a dream or something you want to pursue and you just keep saying no? Maybe it's money. Maybe it's time that you're not doing it. Maybe it's booking some sort of trip or calling a certain person.
Well, then there's Summit coming up, right? And
Yeah.
I'm not signed up to go to Summit. And I'm just like, do I want to, is it basically, I've heard 1,000 people tell me to go and it's totally worth it. But there's that little question in the back of my mind. But then, of course, I already know at the same time that if I don't book this trip, that I'll have FOMO the same way that I did with your recent Cancun trip. So, yeah. Excuses are a thing.
So Summit is this coach gathering that happens every year. And Laura, first and foremost, it's a little freaky because you go there and everyone's drinking Shakeology and you're just like this weird, like everyone's doing Beachbody stuff. And you're just like, I thought it was just me. But it was seriously life-changing for me. And I worked out live with Shanti my very first time. And there's this picture, I have to find it. He like came out in the crowd and he was right next to me. And there's a picture of me going like this, like yelling. And he's like right there. And then everyone else is on the ground doing a workout. Like we were the only two standing. And I was like out of like 5,000 people. And I was like, I don't care. I was right next to him. And I worked out every year with him at Summit. Like you get to pick a personal trainer or celebrity trainer to work out with. And I always pick him no matter what. You should go. It's so good. That was like the thing where I was like, I'm going to do this. And then I did. And then I quit my job. It was like wild, but it was really good. You would like it. Yeah.
Another excuse that somebody recently told me that I've told myself repeatedly was that weird spot where you're hungry. But you work out. So you don't eat, but you haven't worked out. And it's just this like compiled issue. And next thing you know, it's like 2 hours later and you're just hangry and you don't know what to do.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Or like, have you guys used the excuse of your period? Yeah. Like me this week, I've literally been the devil and I feel bad for Eric. We had a fire alarm go off at 10:30 2 nights ago and the whole building evacuated and we woke up later and on purpose, like we hit snooze on purpose. And I was like, we were fine. Like we could have totally gotten a workout in, that's such a good example. That's so real. That's so real. So what I want you to do is I also think that it doesn't just happen in like normal instances with nutrition. I think it also happens with women for dreams that they want. Like it's like too selfish, or someone like me can't do something like that, or you just make excuses for why you can't do something or be somebody. And so I think on like the surface level of things, we can make excuses for why we can't buy a new pair of jeans because we're 2 sizes bigger than before, and it's like, okay, like not the end of the world, but we kind of make it that. But I also think that there's an issue with women making excuses, including myself, with actually just going for it and doing things that set our soul on fire and doing hard things. And I think it's really easy to scare ourselves out of it. And I think it's easy to not pursue it because of the fear of failure and the unknown. And I just think about the times in my life that I've taken leaps. I remember when I was leaving my job 2.5 years ago, and I was leaving certainty for uncertainty, right? I had a contract, I had benefits, I had all of this stuff, and I was just willing to leave that to do the unknown of building a business. And I remember when I put in my notice, I had someone in my life offer me a full-time nannying position, and it would have been the same hours as teaching. And I was so tempted to take it. And I remember thinking in my head, how is that even helping me pursue what I originally was about to do? Because I almost took the comfort of making sure that I had like a solid income over taking a leap, because it was easier taking what was solid and certain. Does that make sense? A lot of times in life when we want to go after something, the uncertainty is the way and reason why we make excuses. Because it's so uncertain, it means that you have no idea what the outcome will be. And it's really easy to lean on the certainty, and it's also easy to lean on excuses because in all actuality, you're just terrified. And I can even think of like this challenge group in boot camp. Maybe whoever's watching, and even now, maybe it took you a long time to commit to this because of excuses, because of money, because of time, because of your worry, because of trying it before and failing, or I don't know, you know what I mean? It could be anything, having a terrible experience before, or maybe not knowing. And I just think it's really cool that you're here. And I think it's really cool you're part of this boot camp. And it just shows that like all of your decisions ever you've made in life have brought you to this moment. And you cannot say that it's all bad, right? Like everything that's brought us to here has opened us up to so many new possibilities. And maybe if we start to shift our focus, we'll start to actually see that we're way stronger than we originally thought. That we don't have to lean on the crutch of excuses, that we can just really trust our gut and go for it and just figure it out, because that's what warriors do. And that's what we can do together as a tribe. So my next question is this: how are you showing up with growth in your life? Maybe it's jumping on this call. Maybe it's joining this boot camp. Maybe you're reading a book. Maybe you're pursuing a dream. Maybe you're going to counseling. Maybe you're doing marriage counseling. Maybe you're showing up with growth by, I'm trying to call my family every Sunday. And I've only done it for 2 Sundays in a row. And the first Sunday, no one picked up. And I reminded that everybody this Sunday when I called everyone. And I was like, I'm trying to call you guys every Sunday. And they're like, that's so great. I was like, yeah, you all didn't pick up last week. They're like laughing. But I'm trying to grow in my relationship with my family. And I'm just trying to pursue that more, because I am that child that goes away and my brother's the loyal one. You know what I mean? Where like, my mom will go to him when she's older, like move in with him. He'll take care of you. You wouldn't want to move in with me. And we all are like that, but I'm just like Miss Independent, like do my thing. I don't need to talk to you all the time, but I'm like, but that's not right. Like I need to pursue a relationship constantly with the people that helped me become who I am today. So that's where I feel like I'm really growing, because I'm really good at mentoring and taking time to help people grow, and that aren't my family. like I spend the majority of my time helping others, and where I slack and lack in my life is personally with my family. And where I don't give them my time, like I give everybody else my time. And that's really starting to like get in my heart a little bit of I'm never going to stop mentoring. I am obsessed with it. But at the same time, like time is limited in life. And so for me, I would say that's my number one area of growth. Also, I would just say moving, and actually Laura moved. Hannah, I know that you moved from California all the way across the country the other way. Growing and moving and doing that requires growth. So I would say I'm still growing because we moved. But those are my areas of growth right now that are tangible. Also, power positive leadership. I'm trying to grow as leader, and I'm also trying to grow as an entrepreneur. Just really starting to launch. I'm starting a podcast. I'm really excited about it. And so that's stretching me because I don't know that world. And so I'm excited about that. But yeah, those are the areas I'm growing. Would anyone else like to share where you feel like you're growing in life? You can unmute too. Laura, Hannah.
It looked like Hannah was like leaning forward. So I was like, is she going to unmute herself? Anyways, I think it's so funny that you feel that the world of podcasts is such a new world, because in a lot of our team calls, you're talking the entire time. So I'm just like, I don't feel like it's all that different in a weird way.
Do you want to know what stopped me from having a podcast? And this is so, it's cool. And you
What's
guys
your excuse for not having a podcast?
What?
What's your excuse for not having a
100%. And this is how I am. And I don't know if you guys can relate. So in life, there's three types of people. There's the creators, and there are the entrepreneurs, like it's like the leaders, like essentially. And then there's the visionaries. I feel like I am a mix between two, but I am a visionary. So I can just be like, let's go there. And I can detail it, and my brain will never turn off all the time. It drives me nuts. Like I'll like be like, I'm here. And then all of a sudden I'll get 20 new ideas. And like Laura can vouch for this. If you're in the team page, it's just like, poo, poo, poo. Like I'm just like constantly thinking of ideas on how to grow people. So where I lack, let's think of a wedding, or let's think of, living room furniture. You know, when you go to a furniture store and people can be like, this piece and then this piece from the garage sale, and I'm going to redo it and make it cool. And I look at a piece and I'm like, it's brown. I can't see to paint it white. I can't see how that's going to look in my living room and work with all this stuff. I'm the type of person that I go to a furniture store and I buy the entire setup. Not kidding. In my living room, the side tables, coffee table, and couch is the exact of how it was placed. And it's the exact how combo. And then you go to someone's house and they like pick up all these pieces of furniture and like mix it all together. I am not that person. So with the podcast, the number one thing from stopping me is the details of putting it to actually together. And so I have someone that's doing that for me. And so I just send them my content and they do it. And I'm like, great, we're good. Okay, that was a side note. But anyway, you should also think about that is who are you? Are you the visionary? Are you the leader? It's like not a micromanager. That's not a good, it's not in a bad way, if that makes sense. You're just good at managing and leading, I guess. And then there's the creator. I'm not the creator. That's for sure. And so you need to team up with someone who's not like you. So I needed Baxter Colburn because he's a creator. I'm not. So anyway, thank you.
Going back though, I'm the type of person that I isolate really quick. If I make this post and I take all this crazy, stupid, unrealistic amount of time to put a post together, and then I don't get as many likes, or it's been a while since somebody has called me. So it's like, I just kind of internalize that. So what I've been working on a lot in the last few days is just me initiating and me being the one to reach out personally to people. I'm not talking about posts. I'm talking about like
in life.
DMs and like calls and
This is a lesson. This is a lesson, my friend. Anything you crave in life, and this is for everyone on here, anything you crave in life, you need to overserve with. For example, if you want your husband to flirt with you, touch you, like not just want to have sex with you, just grab my butt without any agenda. Just grab my butt. Grab his. You know what I mean? And just like pursue whatever it is that you want. And Laura, I think that is such a good, valuable lesson. And I think a lot of us, it's like, my friends don't call me, or I haven't like they're all doing this. And it's like, well, I could either focus on that, or I can focus on massively reaching out to everybody. Like, or maybe you're like, no one sends me encouragement. No one sends me gifts in the mail. And maybe you should just like massively send gifts in the mail and just kind of see how that shifts your perspective in that way, if that makes sense. That was such a huge lesson of growth. Oh my gosh. Like that can be applied to everything. That can be applied to like FOMO, right? Like no one invites me to do anything, or then start inviting everybody to do everything, you know, or you don't feel like this or that, then you should massively overserve in that way. That's huge. What an awesome lesson of growth. That's beautiful. So who is someone that you're really excited that you called or reached out to?
There's a few. There's a few people that are not doing this plan at all. They're doing a different series. And I just reached out to them and be like, hey, if you need an accountability buddy, like I'm here for you. It doesn't matter if we're doing separate programs. Like we're on like this health and wellness journey together. So yeah.
That's so cool. That's so cool. I love that. And yeah, I think that's really cool that that's your perspective. I think that's really beautiful and just taught us all a lesson. Ladies, any of you feel like you're growing in certain areas? Hannah, looks like, oh, you good. I was like, it looks like you're going to unmute. I wasn't sure.
I like never want to be the first one to answer. So I like go for it, then I wait to see if anyone else can answer. I would say like since the beginning of the year, I've tried to like change my mindset in that like working out or self-care and all of those things I'm trying to prioritize it, because one of my excuses is like, oh no, I have to have a clean house before I work out, like, you know, and then I would like do my dishes and I'd be like, oh, well, there's no time now, you know, so I'm like trying to prioritize or like switch my priorities around. And then what else am I doing? I'm also, my cousin leads like this Bible study, and I had a really hard time finding a church after we moved. And so for me, I was like, well, I need to do something. So I joined my cousin's Bible study, and we meet on Zoom like every week too. And so I'm trying to pursue that and prioritize that, just kind of like rearrange what occurs first in my day.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Have you heard of the First 5 app?
No.
You should download it. It's really awesome. It's like the first 5 minutes of your day, and it's a series of devotions. So right now I'm doing, and what's cool is you can, in the first 5, so it's first and then the number 5, it's a free app, but you can actually upgrade to a booklet. And so the app goes into so much detail, but the booklet even does more. And so I just did this one, Finding I Am. It was so powerful and so good, but this one's like 40 days long, Prone to Wonder. And we're going through a bunch of wonderful books of the Bible, and it just really makes you reflect, but you don't have to get the booklet. But the booklet's like $13. It's like such an inexpensive thing to me when it actually like, yeah. So the First 5 app has been game changing for me. So you should, Yeah, it's really good. I don't know who's on the phone. And Olga, if you are able to go, it would be so great to hear from you. But if not, I know that you have 3 little ones that are maybe needing you right now. So as you are all evaluating, where in your life are you holding on to excuses, which is a huge gut check? And then where are you growing in your life? Which list are you happier with? And which list, how does that make you feel? Like, which list makes you feel really, really good? And when I asked myself that question, I was like, oh my gosh, like clinging to excuses is not a fulfilling life. And being held back by excuses is not, it doesn't make you feel filled up. Like, but when you are growing and searching and learning and loving and pursuing and trying and I think we put that pressure on ourselves of having that miracle morning, you know, where you wake up, make your bed, you crush your workout, you know, you're in your Bible, you're reading personal development, like you're doing all this stuff, but then a fire alarm goes off, or a child needs you, or something, you know, like something will throw us off course at some point in life. But I think that's where we all miss the point, where our growth is going to have obstacles and bumps in the road. But the point of it is to look and see how it's making you and shaping you. Because I was sharing this yesterday that I used to body bash 90% of the time. 4 years ago. Totally. It's so weird to think that. It's that old person seems so far from me now. But it was like that. And I used to do it 90% of the time. And then now I love myself 90% of the time. But there's a good 10% in there that rocks my world. There's a good 10% in there that makes me feel like crap. There's a good 10% in there that makes me feel lazy, that just doesn't feel good, you know, and we're not perfect. We never will be, but I'll take that. I will take the reverse of those numbers any day. And with this journey, it is so vital and so important to discover the wins and the good that's happening because of it. And to really acknowledge, and I think women, I've been really on this kick of like, women really struggle with guilt. And we want to serve everybody and put everyone first. We want to do the dishes. We want to like get everything done. And it's just like, that's for some reason, it just makes us happy. Like me is making my bed. And then it's easier for us to put off things that actually are for life. You know, like fitness and nutrition are the things that we need for life. And I always think about, okay, is this going to matter 10 years from now? Doing this activity right now, my workout will matter over time, built up over time, pressing play, doing that accumulated over time is going to matter. Maybe though, you've done a really great job 90% of the time. And then your best friend calls you and says, we are going on a surprise trip. And you're like, screw the workout, I'm going on that trip, right? You like, obviously there's that give and take to it. But is this going to matter tomorrow if I do this right now? And that's kind of even what Eric and I do in our relationship. If we're having a miscommunication, is like, is this even going to matter a week from now? This like ridiculous thing that we're talking about, is this even worth like feeling sad about? No. And it really shapes in perspective of how to deal and handle with certain situations and things, if that makes sense. So thanks for sharing your hearts on your excuses and your growth. And I'm going to post that in our group, and just being really aware of, where do I want to grow in my life? And where do I want to rip out those weeds in my life that are literally holding me back? And I think sometimes we get so used to the conversation in our head of excuses and negativity that once you become aware of them, you're going to really start to see where they are controlling you. And how, and like, what do you do then? Okay, you have these excuses and maybe they're pretty valid. I think money and time is a very valid thing. I think that it's really hard to do certain things because of money. But then I think it kind of goes into awareness thing of too, of like, okay, how am I spending my money? And am I spending on my money on things that are going to grow me? Or are they tailoring to the things that are weeds in my life without realizing it, right? Going to Starbucks 3 times a week, Julianne, not good. That's what I was doing, right? But I could justify it because it was $4 every couple days and not in bulk. So it's no big deal, right? But it adds up over time. And the compound effect, he says, if you order a coffee every day for 20 years from Starbucks, it's over $1 million. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like that's so crazy. You know, it's the compound effect. It was an actual statistic, which was wild. And so in your life, what?
Apparently Americans in the last year spent more money on Starbucks than on investments.
Well, I guess it is some sort of investment, but not a financial one in the sense of helping them. That's crazy. But yeah, in The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. Darren Hardy. Over $1 million. Isn't that crazy? In 20 years. It's so wild. And so with time, I always think about like Netflix. I don't know why I always think about that. But I'm like, our workouts are less time than Netflix show. Like you can do a 22-minute hardcore workout and it's less time than your TV show. And I'm like, we have time. So I feel like time is easier to like work around than money sometimes. But even with money, I'm always like, okay, Target trip every other week. Are you sticking to your list, or are you purchasing things that you don't need and aren't serving you, if that makes sense? Not against Target. I love it, and it's evil at the same time. And I don't have Netflix, but there's a reason I don't have Netflix, because I am a couch potato. And so I cannot have Netflix in my house because we will watch Friends. I've watched this season and series of Friends 3 times once in a row, and there are 10 seasons. So you're welcome. That show is hilarious to me. But it's just in your life, where are you showing up for yourself that's going to grow you, and where are you showing up for yourself that is just hindering you? I really encourage you all to think about those dreams that scare you so much. And also, on a side note, a challenger, Natalie, who's in our group, she called me last week and we talked, and we were talking about risk taking and taking leaps. And I told her, I said, never seek advice from someone who has never done what you want to do. And whether that's lose 30 pounds, move across the country, invest, or start a business, or start a podcast, seek pregnancy, whatever, seek advice from someone who's been through it, because more than likely they'll tell you to go for it, even when it's scary, because they did go for it. And that couldn't be more true, because the opinions I got from certain things that I did, leaving my job, starting a business, all this stuff, were people who were holding me back, were people who've never done it before. And so that was just really eye-opening to me. And she's like, Julianne, that's why I'm calling you. And I was like, oh, this is great. And then we talked about the leap she wants to take. And I just really appreciated that she was seeking advice from someone who had been in her shoes. So anyway, you all are amazing, and I'm so grateful for this group. And I always say this: deposit, deposit, deposit. Don't expect anyone to hold your hand in this group. And it's kind of like that thing of growth, of if you are craving accountability and you're craving motivation, overserve with that, and overserve with that encouragement in there, and you're just going to see a change and shift in your heart. And also, you have the power within you. You don't need anyone to do anything. You have it in you, and sometimes you just need people to say that and breathe that into your life so you believe it. All right. This was awesome. I'm so thankful for all of you, and I will see you next week, but definitely blow up the group with any questions that you have, quotes, positivity, cool things that you found. Hannah, check out the first 5 apps, sister. It's so good. It is so good. All right. Let me know if you have any questions about anything, and I will talk to you all later.